is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Dallas selects Emmitt Smith, running back from Florida.
And now your hosts, David Hellman, Jeff Kavanaugh, Kevin Turner, and Kyle Yeomans.
We are now 77 days away from the NFL Draft here in 2020. As we keep rolling on, looking forward to the Combine coming up in just a couple of weeks. We are the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Jeff Kavanaugh, Kevin Turner, David Hellman. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks so much for joining us. And guys, we are 11 weeks now from the start of the NFL Draft. We're 5 weeks into the show. Are we even that much closer to finding out what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do in this draft than we were when we started 5 weeks ago?
You kind of freaked me out just there, honestly. We were over 100 days when we started the show, and it's already down near 2 months. 77, I'm taking some liberties, but still, we're getting...
It's not a lot.
It's creeping ever so slowly, but steadily. And I don't know. To that question, do y'all feel like you have a good grasp on this thing yet?
I got it nailed.
I got it nailed.
On the Cowboys or on the draft?
I do. I got it nailed. I saw a tweet from Dave the other day that I totally agreed with. We're going to go forever leading up to the draft, and everyone is going to mock Grant Delpit or Xavier McKinney to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
When they actually get to 17, the Cowboys and maybe us won't necessarily feel like either one is worth the 17th pick.
But they'll both be there.
Either somebody will have slid to them that'll get picked, please Javon Kinlaw, or they'll trade back and then pick one of these secondary guys, either a corner or safety. Yeah, I know what they're doing. Yeah. We're going to have to look at all these mocks that say they're going to take a safety at 17, and then they'll move back to take them.
That's where my head is at. Like every year, there's always a team that is just linked to a guy or two or a handful of guys for months, and it never comes to fruition that cleanly. And that's how I feel about Delpit and McKinney.
They're going to
now.
shock the world. Get ready. Henry Ruggs or Jalen Reagor at 17. Let's dance.
Okay.
40 burgers, baby. Score points.
A little more generally, though, this is what I always wonder, and I remember because it was probably around this time. I think it was February when Leighton Vander Esch kind of creeped into our consciousness in 2018. Mm-hmm. Have we hit on all of the names that will be in consideration when it's actually draft time, or is there somebody who's still lurking out there that's not really on the radar?
AJ Epinesa, Yeturgros Matos, Julian Okwara. There, I threw in some wild cards for defensive end. Now we're covered.
Okay, if we're doing Okwara there, then we don't need to draft at 17.
Just wait for the combine.
Back up.
Wait for the combine.
Yeah. No, it's all coming. I think all the cornerbacks. I mean, whether it's Trevon Diggs, whether it's Christian Fulton, whether it's C.J. Henderson, whether it's Jeff Gladney, who I'm higher on than most of the world, but or whether it's whoever it may be.
You're saying Gladney at 17?
No, if you want to get wild with it.
Yeah, I've seen him.
I ain't scared of him at 17.
Mainly pegged as a second-round pick, but
I could see him at 51.
Who the hell knows what they're really talking about in February?
Yeah, exactly, and that's. But I have less. I see what you're saying about the safeties. I think I have less confidence in them drafting a safety in the first round.
So do I.
Than maybe any other position.
The closer we get, it kind of seems that way, where it seems like, okay, safety might not be the number one priority in terms of that first-round pick because there are so many different things that could happen, whether it is a wide receiver, to Jeff's point, whether it's Ruggs or whether it's a Lamb or Judy or somebody, whoever falls wide receiver-wise. If you get one of those burners on the back half of that first round, it seems like maybe they could lean that way to add another weapon on the outside, or you could go with a defensive tackle, Kinlaw. Is pretty much the
or maybe
big
they
name
keep
there.
the Boise State connection alive and take Curtis Weaver 2 rounds too early out of Boise.
That'd be a bad plan. More on Curtis Weaver in segment 3, though.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about Curtis Weaver.
I have right around 20 first-round grades, kind of where I'm at right now, looking at it. Okay. But I started to think about, because we've been talking about Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina a lot.
Yep.
And there's a lot to be found out about him and his knee and things like that. But I'm thinking about tiers of the first round. When does that first tier cut off? Okay, so you're Burrow, Chase Young, Okudah. Maybe you want to throw Derek Brown in there, maybe.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would,
So
too.
at 4 or 5 guys right there, okay.
Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons. Let's throw him in there. So there's
And
5 guys.
I think Kinlaw is going to sneak into that group.
I
You think so?
Very possible.
I'm tempted to go bold today, but I'll wait another week. And I'll,
Why stop now?
let me double and triple check my work before I tell you that I'll take Javon Kinlaw over Derek Brown.
Ooh.
Just let me double and triple check my work before I commit to that.
You just want to tease it for right now.
It's not insane. Honestly, it's not insane because he's a monster. I mean, he's legitimate. I mean,
But so is Brown.
yeah, Derek
But so is Derek
Brown's-
Brown.
is
They're both
incredible.
monsters.
upside though. Who gives you more upside? Who's a safer pick?
probably
Which
still
one?
Brown.
Which one might have a 12-sack season?
I think
think Ken
maybe
Brown.
both of them.
Really?
I would
Okay.
bet on Brown right now.
Yeah, I think I would too. But regardless, I mean, we've talked a lot of wide receivers, and we've talked a lot about guys that could fall position-wise and how deep that class is going to be for wide receivers. Are there any other positions, though, that you're looking at in terms of the depth? The depth that could either mean, hey, there's a lot of guys at the very beginning that are going to be at the very top of the draft that are going to be immediate starters, or is it guys that you can potentially wait on for round 3 and still going to be able to get a guy who could be a starter?
Tight end is deeper than I initially thought it was.
Really?
It's not exciting, and it's not top-heavy at all.
Mm-hmm.
But tight end's a little better than I thought it was. Offensive tackle is a little bit better than I mean, you're going to have your top-heavy guys right there. We've talked about Jedrick Wills from Alabama. We've talked about Becton from Louisville. We've talked about Andrew Thomas from Georgia and Wirfs from Iowa. You know, those guys are probably first-round type guys, but second, third, fourth round offensive tackle, I don't think this team needs to go there because I think this team needs to go defense.
Yeah.
For depending on this. And
Well, that's
look,
the right wide receivers
like,
there.
and today's February 6th. We're a month away from deciding who you're going to place your franchise tag on and things like that.
And they're going to fill out the roster in free agency to try to free up their draft abilities. So
Of
we
course.
have no idea what the team's going to look like,
No.
which is all the fun.
That's why it's a lot of fun. And that's why you do have to
But
actually
even
look at these
speaking-
offensive tackles and things like that.
Even speaking in generalities, I mean, I think offensive tackle, I'm very high on a lot of these offensive tackles. Josh Jones is one that you didn't mention out of Houston. He was at the Senior Bowl, and he bullied some people
He looked
on the
great.
line. I think he could be a first-round talent. He's right on the edge of a first-round grade for me. I think he's right at the beginning of my second-round grades.
He's athletic enough. He's my top second-round offensive lineman.
Yeah,
my
I think
fifth
he's
offensive
right there
tackle
with me
there.
as well. I don't have it pulled up just yet, but I think offensive tackle is just as deep in terms of guys that you can maybe go back and develop as a wide receiver class. Now, I'm not going to say that they're even. I think wide receiver is definitely the deepest position in this draft class, but I think offensive tackle's right there, or at
think-
least in the conversation.
It's interesting because like we've all said a million times already. Like you can find like ready-made receivers in the third and fourth round of this draft class, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true for offensive
tackles.
tackle. I think it's going to be super top-heavy, and like we see every year. Other than quarterback, that's one of the positions teams are most ready to reach on because it's so important, and there just aren't that many good offensive tackles to go around. That's why, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at probably as many as like 5 that would go in the first round. That's another thing I'm hoping for if I'm the Cowboys is that those guys keep going off the board.
If you look at those teams in front of the Cowboys, too, there's some teams that really need some offensive line help.
yeah.
And so I think the offensive tackles go off the board. Maybe
Bring us the Kinlaw.
a Justin Herbert goes off the board there.
Get Jordan Love up in there.
Get Jordan. Hey,
Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, a team needs to panic and get
go.
a quarterback.
DeAndre Swift. Let's get a running back in the top 16.
It is
Come on.
kind of the thing I think that's working negatively for the Cowboys is the fact that Phillip Rivers is free now and that Cam Newton's likely going to, I would assume he's going to get cut and go somewhere else. Jameis Winston is free and a team may try to revitalize him.
I think he's gonna get
Teddy
tagged.
Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. Like there's a lot of guys who are kind
Mariota.
of free.
We're throwing Taysom Hill into that category.
We're having fun, aren't we?
I guess. I don't think anybody's going to make Taysom Hill their starter this
If
spring.
I'm the LA Chargers and I have no fan base at all,
Why not?
I'm signing Taysom Hill
Why?
because I'm the LA Chargers, baby.
Would Mike Williams quit?
The LA
And
Chargers.
Keenan Allen, would he quit? They'd be like, listen, we know that Taysom's running 20 times a game. I'm not here for this.
The LA
let's-
Chargers
get me outta
need to
here.
put butts in the seats and sell jerseys.
Taysom Hill's exciting.
Stop it. They're going to draft Herbert or I mean they should.
Why can't I get Taysom Hill and draft Jordan Love?
You probably could. Just okay, as long as Taysom Hill is not your day one
That's your
starter.
future guy.
You're like this is our guy on
gotta go sign
September
him.
13th.
He's only 30. He's going to get so much better.
Stop it. I will to the original point, like
having fun.
It kind of goes back to what we said at the top. Is everybody's zeroed in on Grant Delpit and Xavier McKinney. That's fine. I think they're both good players. I'd be happy drafting either one of them in the first round, honestly. But
I would be happy with one of those. Yeah.
People fixate on that, and I don't know. I don't know how deep it goes, but I have now gotten eyes on safeties that I would be happy to draft.
Okay.
Winfield.
We've been talking about Antoine Winfield all week on Twitter.
Yeah. Let's go.
That guy's freaking impressive, man.
Let's go.
He hits like a missile and he covers well.
Utah man's pretty good too. Burgess.
Okay, Utah guy is interesting.
He's hard to find on tape because he lines up somewhere different every play.
Every
and it drives
play,
me
he's
nuts.
all over the place.
I have to find him at the end of the play, rewind, and see where he started.
He's very interesting. I was concerned about his measurements at the Senior Bowl when he came in with 30-inch arms. Not that it totally matters at safety how long you are, but he's also on the short end of 5'11".
It happened to my guy Anai, the defensive end out of Utah. He came in with the shorty arms after my notes said offensive tackles can get their hands on him. Hurts your heart when you get a shorty arm.
You get a shorty arm, you go, God, I just need you to be a little bit better. If there's a play.
You can stretch it, though. Just get somebody every day to kind of pull on it a little bit.
Yeah.
See if you can't get another half inch out of that.
And I want to tease ahead, like Stretch Armstrong style. I want to tease ahead to the third segment because we're gonna get two guys. We're going to sit around here and we're going to play GM. We're going to say, pick the guy. Who's the better player? Who do you want? Pick the guy.
And the other guy you're probably talking about is Brandon Jones out of Texas.
Is Brandon Jones from Texas.
Watched him yesterday. I don't want to ruin the third segment, but I'm interested to hear your takes on him. But
awesome.
To that point, Delpit and McKinney's probably your best bet to be I'll throw Winfield in there. Those three could probably start day one. Ashton Davis?
I'm higher on Davis.
We're going to play Winfield and Davis in segment 3, too. Okay, we'll put those two together. But I think what I would say there, is there something about Winfield that makes you go, because there's a lot of people who are going, oh, well, he's not tall enough. And I sit there and go, okay, well, his dad played in the NFL for 14 years. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be good. But everyone's saying all these size questions about Antoine Winfield Jr. Well, he's 5'11", and he's kind of, maybe he's 5'10". Go look at what his dad was. His dad was 5'9" and 180. Yeah. Now, I know evolution has changed.
Well, I don't know if it's so much evolution.
No, I know
I don't think that us as humans have grown multiple inches on average in the last 15 years.
You don't think that?
We're not about to get into this.
I don't think we've gone up 2 inches on average over the last 15 years.
Not in 20 years, no, I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
You
Things
and Dave are still here.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, I haven't been phased out yet, thankfully.
Yeah, but you should see my ancestry.
From 15 years ago?
Tiny, man. Tiny.
Okay.
And little known fact, my family used to be birds.
Pull it back onto the road, please.
But looking at Winfield, and you mentioned his size. I mean, on the board all the way through position-wise, he's the second shortest safety that I've got on in the draft class at the moment.
You know who the name I put in my notes on Antoine Winfield? They play different positions. But I said this is going to be Desmond King all over again for some teams.
I love that.
The Iowa corner, where it was like, he's a little too short, he's a little too slow. So, like, if Winfield runs in the mid to high 4.5s and he measures in at 5'9 3/4, teams are going to be like, he's a little too small and a little too slow. And I'm going to go, cool. I like that you have a physical profile to try to avoid misses. I'm willing to take a shot on this one because he's an outlier because he's a baller.
He didn't look slow catching KJ Hamler, who was not his assignment on a crossing route, and being there to make contact with him at the catch. Like he is very impressive on tape.
He sees it fast too. He gets ahead of it, and I'm glad you mentioned that play because it stands out of him seeing something and then going to get it. And he also will tackle. I mean, he will hit. He needs to wrap up better, but he's kind of got that safety vibe of I want to go knock you out.
I'm going to say he hits like a sack of bricks. I'm not worried about his size at all.
But we're talking about Winfield in that third segment too, but I want to kind of shift it back over to what you were saying. You were talking about late safeties that you could potentially draft and showing the depth of that position. Is there anybody that you're looking at in terms of a guy maybe early day 3, even late day 2 that you could go for safety if you wanted to draft a Kinlaw or a receiver in the first round?
We've got a limited amount of film on this guy, but he was at the Senior Bowl. Jeremy Chin's interesting. Now, I know it's a small school in Southern Illinois, but if you're looking for a strong safety, and that's what he is. Don't ask him to cover a lot. He did hold his own at the Senior Bowl.
That's probably fine because Xavier Woods can play free. I mean, I wouldn't. Especially, you're not talking about drafting a strong safety in the first round.
We're also
talking.
I think Chin is taking a swing on nothing but ability, where you're like, well, he's got talent, but I don't trust him in coverage. I don't trust that he sees things quickly. I don't trust anything other than the fact that he's got good size and he's really good athlete.
I'm going to say he's every bit of 6'3", 215, so it definitely stands out when you watch him play.
What's he going to run at the combine? And I think this is one that actually will matter. I know sometimes he put a lot of stock in the 40s on wide receivers and things like that. At safety, maybe you're not looking at it too much, but I do think it's important to see what he runs. My time that I have on him now was a 4.67. We'll see.
Really? He looks like he can run.
And he played free, on tape. So, he played free, and he was a good open field tackler. You can see how big he is, though, and that's where you just kind of go, okay, there's my strong safety. 5th round. Cowboys have 2 picks in the 5th round. If you know to pop a safety late and you think you can come in and play, you're probably bringing Jeff Heath back, too. And I know a lot of people's eyes are going to roll in the back of their head, but that's a chance that happens.
I would straight up do it. It's interesting because we don't know what this coaching staff is going to want.
Sure.
I mean, all the people that value Jeff Heath have moved on for the most part. But they will need to bring a capable safety in free agency just for numbers. Jeff Heath makes sense, but we'll see.
Darian Thompson.
What about corner?
That's I wanted to bring that up next because we're originally talking about deep positions. Yeah. I'm thrilled by this because, much like, I don't know if they do it rounds 2, 3 like they did in 2017 with Cheeto and Jordan Lewis. But
you have to replace every corner over the next 12 months.
That's what I'm saying. This seems like a draft. This seems like a draft where you would want to double up on the position. And then there's awesome opportunity to do that here. Okay, they're not going to touch Jeff Okudah, obviously. No. But every other cornerback, at the top of the heap, makes sense for their range, does he not? Christian Fulton, C.J. Henderson, Trevon Diggs. I think I would even throw Bryce Hall in there.
I like Bryce Hall, too. I watched him this week.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're talking about.
I got Bryce Hall down there.
We're talking about early day 3 guys, right?
No.
He's talking first round.
We're talking first round.
I'm talking, okay, maybe not pick 17, but again, you're talking about trading back and drafting a safety. I would imagine Bryce Hall could go in the 20s or as far back as 40, I think. Wow. I don't think that's crazy to think.
I have Bryce Hall of Virginia, by the way. I've got him in my 4th round stack. I'm not nuts about him, but it's fine.
If we all agreed on everything, we would be crazy people. That's fine.
I found a sleeper. Last week, Jeff's sleeper that you kind of came up with was the Auburn guy.
His name's Noah.
Noah.
Yeah, his name's Noah.
All right, I got you guys. Here we go. I got the pronunciation.
I used to have it.
He got it.
Igbenogany.
Well, I got another.
Igbenogany.
I got another sleeper, and I'm going to need more tape on him because I just have a Memphis game, and what's the other game?
KT found a guy in Division III.
No. It's not Division III, sir.
It's
the American Conference.
He found a guy in the German League.
No. Oh, I still got him against Oklahoma State where he shut down Tylan Wallace. So get some of that, and also Michigan State.
Your Tulsa guy.
But I need more. It's my Tulsa guy, Reggie Robinson. So earlier in the in previous episodes of the draft show, I told you my meow meow pet cat was Amik Robertson, who had 14 interceptions in 3 years at Louisiana Tech, but his hip destroyed. I mean, he's got nursing home hip.
That's not
so. Good. Reggie Robinson of Tulsa is my new guy. 6'1", 202.
I'm just imagining next.
He's a Senior Bowl guy too.
Yes, sir.
Next week you're gonna sit down and be like, I don't like Reggie Robinson.
No. Now, if I find out he's got nursing home hip, then yes.
But I mean,
I'll be out on him.
Okay, forget the disagreement of opinion about Bryce Hall.
You get some Dantzler in your life.
You got Cameron Dantzler. You got Noah Igbenogany.
Yeah, let's go.
We were impressed by Darnay Holmes and Dane Jackson at the Senior Bowl. Those are more day 3 type of guys. But
5th round guy for me. But those guys.
I like the odds that you can find. I mean, if you wanted to draft at the top, you could, and then you could still come back on day 3 and find a pretty good cornerback.
You move back. You take C.J. Henderson in the 1st round. You wait to 51. You take Cameron Dantzler in the 2nd round. And then you also have picked up another pick, and we'll find our wide receiver, and we'll find our D tackle there somewhere in the 3rd. It'll be great. Madubuike.
They're going to sign.
Holy cow! I just drafted C.J. Henderson.
I'm worried about
Dantzler.
Sign me up for that.
Mims. Denzel Mims.
They're all just going to be there for you.
Justin Madubuike.
They're all just going to be there for you.
A pick in the 4th and 2 picks in the 5th, where I think wide receivers. I think that could be a good zone for that. Yeah. I'm nervous.
KJ Hill.
I'm so nervous about waiting till the third round to address the defensive line.
That's a little risky.
Just needed to stretch for us.
I don't think Matabike is going to be there in the third, but we'll talk about that at a later point.
I'm slowly developing the opinion that they are going to do work on the D-line in free agency that will mitigate some of these concerns.
Mike Daniels in here?
Something.
Yeah, Chris Jones. Let's just sign him.
Mike Daniels will give you a good 6 games.
Figure it out.
Go look at the available defensive
Hargrave.
tackles.
Oh, there's 20 of them.
That's what I'm saying.
They can play.
And I don't think they have a choice but to sign some because they've got nobody.
Yeah.
But Tyrone Crawford, who hasn't played the position in 2 years and has bad hips.
Woods.
He's not under
He's
contract.
exclusive rights, I think.
That doesn't. I mean, again, going back to that point, like, does this coaching staff want him?
Yeah.
Does he fit what they want to do?
Tristan Hill, bro.
Oh, cool. Tristan Hill, who couldn't get a jersey in
Second round
2/3 of
pick.
their games.
Second round pick, a lot of value there.
Point being, they need help in a way that they can't afford to wait to the draft.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
I'm very curious to see what they do there.
Well, we can't afford to wait any longer to take our first break. Now, last week, Dave, you talked about Jaylen Hertz not having a long NFL career. That's going to be our first Twitter on the 20 question.
Nice.
When we return, we're going to address that when we come back. This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer, where you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses. You can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS One score, September 2019.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Back here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star in Frisco, episode 5 of the 2020 season of the Draft Show, just carrying on the legacy left behind by guys like Brian Broaddus and Dane Brugler, investigating and educating. That's the first time I've said that in 5 weeks. So I feel like we should probably hit that.
I think
at
that's
some
copyrighted.
Point. Is it?
Brian might have rights on that. You might have to double check.
The building would probably own it, so he probably can't take it.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. But we love those guys and just trying to talk some draft here, of course. And, man, we've got a great couple of questions to hit here in the coming moments. And this first one kind of caught me off guard because it's directly challenging a statement made by the great Dave Hellman last week.
Oh, go after him.
Oh, boy.
Nathan Ward on Twitter, our first Twitter on the 20.
Twitter on the 20.
He says, just listen to the latest draft show, and you said you didn't see Jaylen Hertz having a long NFL career.
Oh, Dave.
Can you expand on that?
Actually, okay. Let me rephrase. Jaylen Hertz could have a long NFL career because he's capable of being on an NFL roster, and he definitely can contribute something. I don't see him being like a multi-year starter at the NFL level, like being the face of a franchise. I don't like. Am I alone in that? Do y'all think I'm crazy?
I don't think he's an NFL starter.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, we spent 5 minutes talking about Taysom Hill in the first segment. I mean, if Taysom Hill can turn in, I mean, how long has he been in the league at this point?
Hey, if Taysom Hill can start, Jaylen Hurts might be able to start.
Taysom Hill doesn't start, though.
I know.
Okay, I was like, am I missing
KT's
something?
trying to get him $20 million a year.
I'm trying to pump some excitement.
He's going to be the future
Chargers.
of the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think Jaylen Hertz will get drafted. I think he's more talented than people give him credit for. He's got a hell of an arm. And his athleticism helps him make plays. Like, I have never been impressed by what he does when a defense like completely hems him in and doesn't let him use that athleticism to win. I mean, like, you know, maybe I'm biased, but LSU really hindered his ability when they got after him and forced him to play a little bit more traditionally. That doesn't mean he can't be useful in the NFL. Shoot, if he wound up with like a Sean Payton and they could use sub packages for him and let him use his athleticism and things like that, he could be very successful. I just don't see him starting for an NFL team for multiple years.
And that's kind of what I was going to say. Is he more of a project? Is that probably the best way to put it? In terms of a guy you can put behind a veteran and let him learn for a multitude of years with a good coaching staff, and then maybe he turns into a successful quarterback?
You can make him the backup in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't think you would put him.
RG3's already taken that.
Right.
Yeah.
You could do better than that. But I don't think that you're going to just have Jaylen Hurts be the backup to fill in the blank generic quarterback and run the same thing. Because, like, they had to change Oklahoma. I think we picture it as all being the same with Baker and Kyler and Jalen, but they were all three different offenses.
Yeah.
The Jaylen Hurts offense offered a lot. It was a lot of quarterback power, really.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, our running back's going to lead block for you, and that's because he's not the athlete that Lamar is, right? He's not. I don't think he's a good enough thrower to win in the NFL that way, and I don't think he processes what's happening fast enough to win from the pocket.
That's the issue. And how fast, how much development does it take to get a guy to process things down the field?
Yeah.
Like, almost everyone's a project if you're a quarterback. But the fact that Cody Kessler's on an NFL roster tells you that Jaylen Hurts could be on an NFL roster.
No,
but I just don't see him as a starter.
I think I hate people that just dismiss a guy offhand. Like, you can never measure like somebody's will and the way they develop or what system they wind up in. Would Taysom Hill ever have had the career he did if he didn't wind up with such a good and creative coach? So I don't want to completely write him off. And if Tyrod Taylor can have the career he had, which included multiple quality years as a starter,
starting caliber contracts at the time to go start for a team.
We didn't think Dak would be a starter.
Sure. Yeah. Jaylen Hurts could do it. I do not envision him having like a multiple year career as a starter. I think he's a backup / gadget guy / developmental dude.
Processing down the field was a question for Dak coming out of the draft. I think that's the best.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not a comparison or anything, but like maybe that's kind of the area in the draft I think Jaylen Hurts would go.
I assume I assume y'all haven't dove on quarterbacks. I have not because I know the Cowboys are not going to need one in the top of the draft.
I haven't watched one yet. I mean, I've watched a lot of them live,
and I've watched enough,
but not studied.
Between Bama and Oklahoma, I've watched enough of Jaylen Hurts to have I think I have a feel for him.
Pretty good grasp on it.
I mean, I would still guess he gets drafted by the fourth round.
I will bet he gets picked in the third or fourth round.
Yeah.
That's where I bet he goes.
Next question comes from Daniel Buchanan. And Buchanan asks, he says, who has a better chance to be there in the second round for Dallas? Is it Chason or Queen?
Oh, pass rushers go quick. Chason is not a sure thing by any means, but Kayvon Chason, I could totally see him going in the first round. I could see Queen going in the first round too, but if you're betting which one might make it, there's a 1% chance Queen makes it and a less than that percent chance Chason makes it.
Queen is insane to me as
a dump truck.
As an LSU fan. Like, I didn't pick this question out, but he was awesome. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. He covers incredibly well. Hell of a player. But I was thinking he was sort of like an under-the-radar pet cat, like,
I don't think so.
No, people found him.
Well, when I say under the radar, I mean, top 60 pick. Top 80 pick.
Until he declared, I didn't know very much at all, and then I saw other guys watching him like, oh my gosh, he's really good.
Daniel Jeremiah,
he didn't know.
2 days after the national title game, Daniel Jeremiah is like, this guy's a top 20 pick. I was like, oh, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, but Chaseon's a bendy pass rusher.
No.
Those go quick.
Chaseon's a first-round pick as far as I'm concerned.
The position value will matter there and that type of thing. But that is a fun type of prop bet at some point if you want to get into it. I think Chaseon goes first. But, man, if you're a team who needs an inside linebacker, if you're going to play Patrick Queen versus Kenneth Murray, I'll take Queen over Murray.
I think
it's close.
I
like Queen a little bit more. I like how he scrapes through and finds his way to the football all
impressive.
the time.
He's a hammer.
And he sees it pretty quickly, too, I think, for a guy who didn't have like 4 years of starting experience or anything. I think his instincts are pretty quick.
I think there's a chance they both go in the first round.
I do too.
Queen is the better bet to fall to the second, but even then, I don't think he'd be there at 51.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there at 51 either.
But
that's
I think
interesting.
For the sake of Chaseon, where you're talking about him, if Chaseon went at 15 or if Chaseon went at 35, I don't think I would be surprised. It's way different. I'm not comparing the two players, but it kind of reminds me of Harold Landry from a few years ago.
Okay.
When you're sitting there going, okay, could he go late teens? And he ends up, falling to 36 or wherever he went to Tennessee in the second round.
Well, I don't think this is a good edge class.
No,
I don't either. I think Chase Young is incredible, and after that, Chaseon could be the next one to go.
Yeah.
AJ Epinesa, I think, is probably mocked the highest after that, but I think people are also going to see him and go, okay, the 280-pounder run stopper. He had college production as a pass rusher, but what do I project that to the league? Whereas Chaseon's the exact opposite. The production's not there, but I think the twitched-up athlete is there. I could see him being the second edge off the board.
I think that's the classic case if Dane Brugler was here, like high ceiling versus low floor.
Yeah. Right.
Or
absolutely.
High, you know what I mean? High floor. Like,
Epinesa's a high floor. You're going to get a good player.
Yeah.
Chaseon's a high ceiling, where you might get 15 sacks in a year.
I agree.
And you look at, you kind of mentioned the edge class in general. I mean, I have Chaseon in front of Epinesa and Gross Matos out of Penn State. I mean, Terrell Lewis is in there as well. I mean, that's just – I feel like they're just in a different class. Well, those three guys up at the top, Chaseon, Epinesa and Young are just all by themselves, and I think Young's even elevated above those guys too.
All the more reason why I think the Cowboys need to try really hard to bring Robert Quinn back, because I don't love their odds of really addressing the edge in this draft.
Me neither.
I mean, who are you going to get if you're Dallas? You got
unless you trade back
in the third.
Who are you getting if you trade back? You're trading away from the good edge players.
You're trading back and taking Gross Matos and hoping for the best.
You said Curtis Weaver earlier.
Nothing feels,
third round.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me.
What Jeff said is nothing feels like a sure thing like Chase Young. But there are some guys there who I'm kind of uncomfortable taking up there, and I'm more comfortable at a value and telling I'm getting extra picks for. I think Terrell Lewis, if his medicals check out at the Combine, I think you're going to see him get up into the 20s.
He had a nice week at the Senior Bowl.
He's awesome on tape.
Yeah.
Everyone's just worried about his legs, and they should be.
Yeah.
Because he's got a bad knee. But if his medicals check out at the Combine, I think you're going to go, oh, okay, there's a guy, and I think he'll be talked about more than Chaseon will.
Why do all the Alabama players have all these medical red flags?
Don't worry about that.
Play hard in the SEC.
I guess so, man.
Beat 'em up.
You got
grind them down.
That grind back and forth. Okay, so this one is tailor-made for Jeff Kavanaugh, no doubt about it.
I like it.
All right.
I hate it.
Since it's nearly impossible to come out with 4 to 5 impact rookie starters in one draft, wouldn't it be better to draft a wide receiver high like Ruggs or Rager, try to put up 40 burgers on everyone rather than focusing on defense and hoping that the rookies play big in year one?
Yeah, he's just been watching my YouTube. Yeah.
I feel like this is. Is this a burner account?
Come on over.
That's my burner account. Rager is the one guy that I don't think anybody's really talked about the idea of at 17, could you do it? Now, in this case, we're assuming that free agency, you kind of fill holes. You find a defensive end. You find a D tackle.
Yeah.
You get to 17, and Ruggs, Judy, Lamb are gone. And could you take Jaylen Rager at 17? I will say this. All right, I'll go this way. I'll go this route. Because everybody's so sold on Ruggs, and nobody's talking about Rager on the same level. One of them has had elite production as a 19-year-old in college football, and one of them's never had great production.
Yeah.
Ruggs is faster. There's no doubt. He can really make people do circles coming off line of scrimmage. But Rager's a monster, too. I support the 40-burger offense. I support it. Make your strength so strong that you can cover up your weakness.
I haven't. Full disclosure, I haven't had a good look at Rager yet. I know who he is. I know he's one of the fastest receivers in this class. Sell me on him.
5'11", 195, but I think when you look at him, he's not just fast. He's strong. They'll throw him goal line fades, and he'll go get it. So he's not your typical under 6 foot guy where it's like, hey, his catch radius is tiny. He does have drops, but he also makes contested catches where he'll climb the ladder and go get it. After the catch, he's electric. 21 yards per punt return last year, including 2 touchdowns. I think Jalen Reagor immediately makes you a team that has a threat at punt returner, a deep threat, a guy who's hell to deal with in the screen game, and doesn't play small. I think Reagor's a really good prospect.
If you go and
he was
give
19
Reagor,
years old, and he dominated the Big 12 with bad quarterback play.
Well, he came out of Waxahachie, and he had a couple of receivers at Waxahachie, too, when he was in high school, and he was head and shoulders over everyone. Best high school receiver in the area by far. But you also look at, if you do go and get a guy like Reagor, that means you're probably not going to bring back Randall Cobb, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're done with Cobb, and so you'll have Gallup, Reagor, that's
probably Cooper. Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of a hesitant thing at the moment. But I mean, I'm not against that.
No, bring on the 40-burger offense.
40 burgers.
Blake Jarwin, maybe get another tight end to work with him, and Dalton Schultz. Bring on a stud. That's fine. It's completely logical to think with the way that this thing is stacked up. I think the value at 17 might be best at like receiver and maybe cornerback.
I almost feel like you're in a position there where you're not allowed to complain about the defense, though.
Because you're not addressing it?
Because you're not addressing it. Well, when it was the constant problem all year long.
What if I tell you, you're right, the defense was way more, in my opinion, why the Cowboys were mediocre than the offense. But if I tell you that they bring back Robert Quinn.
Okay, now we're talking.
And, they're not, if they bring back Robert Quinn, they're not going to sign anybody like juicy at D tackle or corner. But they'll fill those voids.
I like a juicy D tackle.
If you can get me Robert Quinn and Anthony Brown back.
Okay. Are we cooking with gas?
Now we're cooking.
Okay.
And now I'm more willing to do something like that.
Yeah.
Get a little crazy in the first round.
It's hard to talk about until you see that. And I don't think they would. I don't really think they should, but man, it would be fun.
This is where, once again, and I hope a lot of teams are thinking this way because I think it's going to be insane. I do think, and I love Reagor, but I also love a ton of other guys. And that's where I kind of go, why am I taking a wide receiver at 17? I can get a good one at 51. Oh, my God, I can get a good one at 82. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, can I get a decent one receiver in round 4 at 124? Yeah, I think I can,
but
because there's 25 of them that are going to go in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
I want impact. Like my wide receivers goes Lamb and Judy, gap. Ruggs and Reagor, gap. And then we start listing all these T. Higgins and Laviska Shenault, and then maybe there's another gap. And then my Pittman and Ayuk. And so there's a lot of really good players. There's a lot of NFL starters.
You have Higgins and Shenault below Reagor. So
yes.
And we aren't doing this as one of the hypotheticals in the third segment, but who would you pick? Would you pick Ruggs or Reagor?
He said Reagor over Ruggs. He already did it.
No, I did. I said right now I said
because at
we
first
shouldn't be talking about one and not the other is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But who would you take?
At the moment, I have Ruggs above Reagor.
And that's fair because everyone's talking about Ruggs and no one's really talking about Reagor.
Everybody's pretending there's 3 names that if you got to 17, it's like, oh, maybe you can't pass him up. And I think that should be 4.
You think he should at least be in the conversation?
I do.
I think Shenault should be there too.
And other people are going to think Shenault
should be there too.
Or even Ayuk or T. Higgins, but those are my 4.
I think I've kind of mentally written, and it's not fair, I'm not saying it is, I've kind of mentally written Laviska Shenault off because he doesn't really fit what the Cowboys need.
Because he's a bit player? Not in a bad way, but like he is, kind of a jet sweep and screen and after catch and all sorts of different stuff.
He's a bigger bodied guy. Like he's not the typical.
You want the slot burner.
Yeah.
You want the guy that's going to blow past everybody.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know that that's him. I don't think he's going to run a particularly impressive 40 for a receiver.
Yeah.
So, not saying he's not a good player, but in my mind, I just don't see him here. So I'm not even really thinking about him that much. But I do think he will be drafted fairly high.
Okay.
Anyway.
I see that. I see what you're saying there in terms of the bigger-bodied receiver on the outside. So that's going to do it for Twitter on the 20. We're going to cut it short a little bit today. We'll get to some of your other tweets on Twitter at some point throughout the next week. However, when we come back, KT has some hypotheticals. We're going to play a little bit of this or that before Jeff Kavanaugh trips out of his chair. We'll be back in a moment here on the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their Deal Score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this...
Hey, Blue 20!
Download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Final segment here from the Star in Frisco. Episode number 5 of the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Thanks for joining us. Jeff Cavanaugh, Kevin Turner, David Hellman. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And KT, Mr. KT Fun Tweets over across the table from me has some juicy pairings that we're going to have to decipher as a GM. Now, I want to clarify this. Are we the GM of the Cowboys, or are we just
anyone?
General GM? Who's the better player?
The GM of your own, your draft in your head.
The Yeoman's team.
Let's imagine that we're in our own war room here, and we're just sitting around talking about players. We're trying to build a board, all right?
Okay.
Who would you rather have? Let's take roster needs out of it, okay? Who would you rather have right here? So you have 2 guys, and we're going to try to come to a consensus.
Okay.
We're going to stack them on the board. Let's start at wide receiver. SMU wide receiver James Prochet versus Texas wide receiver Colin Johnson.
I don't even think this is close.
I think it's unfair. I would go Colin Johnson, but I think it's unfair.
Because it's big versus little?
Yeah.
Give me Prochet all day.
Wow, you don't think it's close?
No, I don't. I don't know. Maybe again, like my own biases in my head, but
I got them both in the 4th round.
Okay,
Same.
I mean, no, I guess so. Yeah, Colin Johnson to me, he's just a big-bodied, slow guy, and I don't know, what am I doing with him? And I guess I am thinking about Dak Prescott in this instance, but what's he helping Dak with? I don't know.
And I remember you talking about him at the Senior Bowl. I remember you and I walked up to each other, and you said, "Man, he is slow."
He
got open at the Senior Bowl.
Because he's big-bodied. I mean, he can use that in his favor, but he just kind of plods downfield.
Well, he's 20 pounds away from being a tight end. I mean, 6'6", 220. I mean, he's huge.
I think he's very well aware of what his deficiencies are, and I think he's going to do everything that he can to try to get better in that. I don't know how you can just get a little faster.
I don't think his deficiencies can be changed.
You don't think he can?
Whatever athlete he is what he's going to be. I don't think that there's that's one of those things where you just say, hey, he's not. If he's a 4'6" guy, he's just going to be a 4'6" guy.
I don't think he's stiff though. I think you see him turn his hips not on route running, but adjusting the back shoulder throws, and you'll go up and get the big time 50-50 ball and all that stuff. You see him do that stuff, but I think he knows okay. I don't think he's just a pure straight line guy. I think he can do more than what we've seen. Prochet catches everything and gets open, and he's everything you probably want as a tiny guy. And that's why I put these guys together, because there's a 7-inch difference.
There were a couple times though at the Senior Bowl that I thought James Prochet was moving in slow motion too.
He's not a burner.
I don't think he's twitchy.
I don't think so.
I think he's just a really solid player.
I think he's got great hands.
Give me
he's got a good
player.
catch rate. I think he high points the ball better than Colin Johnson does, which is saying something because of the way that.
Well, then throw it higher.
Yeah, you got
where one can't get there.
You got to put it on Prochet too. There's a few plays watching him on tape where the ball's a little bit behind him, and you see, okay, well, it's got to be on his chest, or otherwise he's not going to get it. And it's like that for a lot of those smaller guys. With Colin Johnson, he bailed Ellinger out a lot.
Yeah, he did.
And that's something I think when you're talking about a 4th, 5th round area, which is where I kind of have these guys, I just think it's a little interesting. It does depend what you need. I've got Johnson 1 peg higher than Prochet on my board.
Y'all are going to hate what I'm about to say because one guy went in the first round and one guy we're talking about on day 3. But Prochet just reminded me of like a poor man's DJ Moore, who was my pet cat a couple years ago. Like they're similarly built. And I know like Moore's the better athlete, but just watching him move, like Prochet when he gets the ball, to me, like he almost looks like a running back. Like I love his contact balance. I love his movement ability.
Low center of gravity.
Very low center of gravity. He catches everything. He catches balls like a bigger receiver at times. I was very impressed watching him
torched
live.
North Texas a couple times.
I'm going to have to watch some more Prochet because I didn't see a great after the catch guy. And to me, that's what made DJ Moore was once the ball's in his hands, you are in trouble.
Which, to be, I'm basing this more on practices than tape study.
Okay.
But he stood out to me in Mobile for sure.
Yeah. I thought he looked great in Mobile too, and I've seen some of the insane catches he makes in his workouts, and like I've seen the good things, but I thought that on tape, and he has great production. He had a big junior year, big senior year, but to me, I just saw a guy that I was like, he does everything right. Like he's a solid route runner. He comes back to the ball. He's going to catch it. He does everything right, but I didn't see anything that jumped out at me as like, ooh, that's special.
Well, see, Cortland Sutton's kind of my reckless comp for Colin Johnson, too.
Yeah.
A poor man. You said poor man,
sure.
DJ Moore. Poor man.
Less talented Cortland Sutton.
And I mean, look, it will for teams that comes down to what you need or whatever. But
for the record, like Jeff, the way Jeff just described him, isn't that what you're looking for in a day 3 receiver anyway? Like the special guys, the special guys are off the board by pick 120.
Yeah. Day 3, I would be happy with that pick.
Yeah.
Like there's slot guys that I like a little bit better, like KJ Hill at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like him better because I just think that there's more explosive route running there. There's a better ability to separate.
Is he one of your guys?
He's a round 3 guy for me. I like KJ Hill,
but he's not in your.
He's not on this segment. No.
KJ Hill, I'm kind of surprised that his stock seems so low. Well, yeah, like
I think senior stats were never big, so I just think people haven't done the work yet. Would be my guess. Because on tape he looks really good.
He made people look silly all year. I like him a lot for sure.
The next one is kind of fun here. Let's go to safeties. Minnesota's safety Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yes.
Versus California safety Ashton Davis.
Ooh. Before I watched Winfield, I hadn't actually heard a lot about him, and I'd seen Ashton Davis as pretty much the whole world's third safety behind Delpit and McKinney. Winfield's my third safety. Davis is my 5th safety.
Can I throw in a third in Kyle Duggar? Because that's who I have on the graphic. I might have changed it last minute.
Yeah, I think you changed it last minute. It's okay.
I haven't studied
We can
Duggar.
talk about all 3 of them.
I haven't studied Duggar, so somebody's going to have to help me with that one. But I think Winfield can play free, strong. I think Winfield can do a little bit of everything. He's got the ball production you dream of with the interceptions. I think Antoine Winfield's only limitation is his size.
And his size honestly doesn't bother me too much. I think there's another thing. He missed a little bit of 2017 with the hammy. 2018, he tore a ligament in his foot. That type of stuff tends to bother me, foot injuries, things like that.
Little red flags like that.
But, man, I think also there's so much there, and he plays big, too. I think he's able to kind of use his body and want to hit and things like that. And then it does just kind of icing on the cake. You see how fast he plays from just seeing it on the field. And you go, yeah, he looks like a guy who just watched his dad play football for 14 years. Antoine Winfield was a great player.
His instincts are really impressive. It seems like he always has a read on where the ball is going or where it is. I think I watched him Tuesday afternoon for an hour or so and was really impressed. And why are people so hung up on his size? I don't really.
It's just an inch, right? If it's 6 foot instead of 5'11", do you change your mind on a guy?
Is he 5'11"? Did we get an official on that?
He may be 5'10".
I think he's 5'10". A Minnesota 5'11".
We'll get this.
Getting that SID bump.
He's going to be He's going to be 5'09.6".
And
don't care. If that helps him fall to 51, let's go.
Yeah.
That's okay with me.
I agree.
Yeah. Two things about Winfield. First off, I wasn't impressed immediately when I started watching him. And I got in a Twitter conversation yesterday.
You must not have started with the Penn State game.
I did not start with the Penn State game.
Start
that
there.
was the
You
Penn
will be.
State game that and Zach Wolchuk from the Fan said it, and he said, "Look at the Penn State game. This is where you'll change your mind."
Yeah,
it changed my mind because he took Baby Gronk and he made him look silly basically over the course of the game. The thing about Winfield, he had 7 interceptions his final year at Minnesota, 9 career. That's kind of impressive to me to show that he only had a couple in his first few years, and he didn't start a whole lot at the beginning of his career in Minnesota.
He was kind of always hurt, too.
Kind of back and forth. He had those injuries in, was it 2017 and 2018? He only played 4 games in each of those years.
Yeah.
Then when he finally had an opportunity to piece together a year, comes up with 7 picks. That's the kind of guy that you want. I mean, that's what Mike Nolan's been talking about over the last couple of weeks, is a guy that you want to be afraid to throw the ball to his side because you could take it the other way.
Okay, we all just agreed we absolutely love Antoine Winfield. Give me a thumbnail on Davis, because I think Delpit, McKinney, Davis, and Winfield are pretty clear-cut as like the 4 options for the Cowboys at the top of the draft.
I trust Davis more as a free safety than a strong safety, or I think Winfield can be a little more complimentary. I mean, Davis is going to come up, and he's about 10 pounds less than Antoine Winfield, and you see it. You see how kind of skinny he looks, and that kind of bothers me. And there's a couple missed tackles, and you kind of got to go low and kind of play that way down in the box. But he can cover. His instincts are good. I like Ashton Davis. I have Ashton Davis right behind Winfield in the 2nd round. I mean, here's my safety group: Delpit, McKinney, 2nd round grade, Antoine Winfield, Ashton Davis. And then Kyle Duggar's next. So it's all in that order. And those guys
Ashton
are going.
Davis help an opponent up. I see a lot of tapping guys on the helmet after they block him, and I don't like a friendly play.
My favorite.
I don't like the friendly player.
You want a guy that's going to go headhunting.
I don't like the friendly player.
My favorite play from him, if you go watch the Oregon game, though,
he helped an opponent up.
I mean, it happens, man. Hey, guys, we're trying to diplomacy, man. 2020, man.
It's 2020, man.
Yeah. Different, but there's a play in the Oregon game where he picks off perennial 1st-round pick, Justin Herbert. And
everybody picked off Justin Herbert.
A good play. It is such a good play.
I thought he was beat on that play.
Sees it, he turns it, and he covers the ground and makes the pick. He does look like he's beat.
I think it was underthrown.
Well, it might have been, but hey, give the guy a little bit of credit. He's a good player.
Winfield's catch-up speed really showed in that Penn State game too, because I thought he was beaten on his first interception.
Yeah,
the guy had steps on him, and he was like, "No,
he turned the wrong way. He opened the wrong way."
Never mind. All right, what else you got?
Next one, tight ends. Dayton tight end Adam Troutman versus Washington tight end Hunter Bryant.
I have to sit this
one. Well, I feel like this is. This depends on what kind of player you're looking for. Are you looking for the big tight end?
No, don't cop out, Kyle, because we said it's up to you.
Yeah,
it's not. We're not worried about what the Cowboys think.
I'm 100% going to take Hunter Bryant. I'm about to tell you why, but I'm splitting this up because Adam Troutman is a much bigger tight end, 6'5", 251. He's going to block for you, even though blocking's not his strong point. And then you've got Washington, Hunter Bryant, who's 6'2", looks like a slot receiver more than a tight end.
He's a big slot.
And he runs around a lot pre-snap, and he does a lot of different things for you.
I'm taking Hunter
different
Bryant.
Players.
They are different players. But Hunter Bryant was really impressive to me. I put on his game against USC. First snap of the game, I'm like, all right, is this guy on the line? Is he in the slot? Where's he at? Couldn't find him. Then I realized he's playing fullback. It's sort of an H-back type of deal. Toss sweep, and he takes out a linebacker on the first play of the game. I'm not saying he's like an elite blocker, but over the course of the game, like, he's very willing to do it. He blocks downfield for receivers. They don't put him on the line a lot, but they on occasion, and he gets in there like he's not afraid to put his nose in it.
He's a get-in-the-way guy.
That's all I want.
He'll go hit his targets.
In 2020, that's all I want. And he's 6'2", 239, runs well, can go downfield. He had an amazing, I think it was Oregon State where he had like 150 yards.
He had a good game against Utah too, I believe.
I haven't had a chance to watch that game, but
I do not have the Oregon State game. I didn't see that one, but Oregon, Hawaii, BYU, USC, California.
In the 2 games I watched, like, he was a willing blocker and he's got good hands and is dangerous downfield. Again, the old Cowboys regime, I'm like, this is exactly the tight end that they would never draft.
Jeff is a guy who's had
don't know that now.
Many knee surgeries. Does a meniscus and an ACL slow you down a little bit? Because his speed
just
is a
2?
factor.
No, you're okay. No, just 2, you're fine. 9 is a problem.
Here's my concern. Troutman's got 3 inches on him. Obviously, he's going to be a bigger threat over the middle of the field. I initially had Hunter Bryant graded higher, and then I got a load of Dayton film into my drop box, and it was go time. And you'll see how smooth of a catcher he is of the football. Hunter Bryant had drops.
He did have
and
drops.
no one's talking about his drops.
I was going to bring it up.
He's a second-round graded tight end for me. But I'm taking Troutman over Hunter Bryant.
I'm scared.
I know people are scared of Dayton.
I'm scared of FCS.
Drops.
No, I'm scared of FCS.
He's getting a Senior Bowl bump. That's all it is.
He's getting a dominated at Dayton bump is what he's getting. He's a dominant football player.
Who cares?
He also had 40,
I don't care if he dominated at Dayton.
44 games at Dayton compared to Bryant, who played in I believe it was on the graphic a minute ago, but it was 20-something.
Maybe I'm just intrigued by the thought that the Cowboys would be willing to draft a tweener tight end,
an Evan Ingram type.
Yeah, it's 2020, baby. Yeah. Let's get those red zone mismatches on the team. Let's go.
If I'm going to do that, I'll just draft a fast guy though.
But I'll
just draft a fast guy.
You still need it. Well, who is that?
We'll just play with no tight ends if we're doing that.
That's not going to happen. Mike McCarthy loves tight ends.
Let's go.
Who else you got?
Where's Dez?
Okay, keep it moving here. Here we go. Linebackers this time. Haven't done a lot of this, guys.
Nope.
I'm going to put this as edge/linebacker. Wisconsin's Zack Bond up against Oklahoma linebacker Kenneth Murray. Better player. Stack them on your board.
Those are different skill sets.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this.
I'm going to take.
Don't cop out, Dave. Don't cop out. Just pick a better player, dude.
I hate you guys.
I'm going to take Kenneth Murray, and I'm going to do it hoping Zack Bond doesn't make me look stupid, because maybe a team takes Zack Bond and they play him in the TJ Watt role, and he's able to do it despite his size.
He just kind of
did it at Wisconsin, but I think what's going to happen is Zack Bond is going to get moved to off-ball linebacker like we did with who was the pass rusher? Hassan Reddick?
Hassan Reddick.
There you go.
Where it's like, all right, yeah, he's an incredible athlete, and he was a pass rusher, and now he's a linebacker. And it's like, well, that didn't work so well because he was a pass rusher. You made him a linebacker. I know what Kenneth Murray is. I don't know what Zack Bond is.
Are NFL front offices as vanilla or simple, I guess is what I would say, to go, well, TJ Watt just got defensive MVP. Maybe this guy's a Wisconsin guy. Do
the same uniform.
When your front offices think that way? Because I would use him as an everything, but I think his strongest thing is when he rushes the passer.
Yeah.
So I like Zack Bond. I've got him graded higher than Kenneth Murray. I have questions about how fast Kenneth Murray sees the ball. Yeah. I have questions. Like he's motor and he's all over the place and all that stuff. But there are times when you're like, okay, are you moving towards the ball yet?
He's a little out of control sometimes, too. He looks like he's overly aggressive, which is good. And I think when you look at Bond, he's a little bit more calculated in the way that he is aggressive compared to Murray, where Murray's just kind of fly ball, see ball, go ball, kind of just go at it. And
I just worry that Bond's going to go 18th, and somebody's going to take this 240-pound pass rusher and be like, all right, now he's a will linebacker because he's 6'3", 240.
And he just ruins him.
It's a totally new job.
If you're drafting him that high, I hope you have a better, clear-cut idea of what you want to do.
Hassan Reddick went in the top 10.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because somebody's like, oh, he went to the Senior Bowl, and he looked like he could cover.
I'm going to cheat because I can't completely just forget about the Cowboys when I do this, and Bond offers more of what I don't have. I'm okay with off-ball linebackers. I'm assuming Leighton Vander Esch is going to be healthy.
He might be a right defensive end for me.
Give me that guy.
Utah safety Terrell Burgess versus Texas safety Brandon Jones.
This is a good one.
I have Burgess over Jones.
I do too.
Because I believe Burgess offers more as a cover guy.
Yes, but do not play him in the box.
I would love to, tell me what you think about Jones, because I didn't really know what to think. First, that's another guy, it took me 5 minutes to even find him.
Brandon Jones, 6 foot, 205. I wrote here, let's see, so many wide receivers. He ends up playing a lot of slot corner. Carries Jefferson down. This is against LSU. Down the field perfectly.
I saw that play. Yeah.
Sideline to sideline speed in the run game against TCU. They're playing a 3-3-5, and he's the fifth DB, who's more of a third-level linebacker, so that's where you're struggling to find him.
Yeah.
Shows some versatility to play man and zone. Could probably trust him with backs and tight ends.
Yeah.
Willing in the run game. Not the quickest diagnoser. He will hit, can cover ground. Aggressive and reliable open tackler.
Sounds like I'm talking to Brian Broaddus right now.
Just kind of reading his thumbnail.
Totally unrefined in coverage. You want to know about a player? I'll read you my notes. Tries to just catch guys when they get to him when he's asked to play man, collides and chases. He's a box guy with some athletic ability.
I think his back to the football is a problem. If he's got to turn and run with a wide receiver, I think it's a problem. And if you stood these guys next to each other, and I know if you're watching online, you can see the graphic, you're going to see Brandon Jones look a lot bigger than Terrell Burgess. Yep. Terrell Burgess,
he's got about 15 pounds on.
Got to be a cover guy on the back end. Brandon Jones, to me, has to be a strong, and I think that's pretty definitive of what these guys can do. There's a play against, I believe it's against Oregon, where Terrell Burgess is running, charging towards the line. He blitzed a lot, and he was a very effective blitzer. But there's a play where he's charging toward the line, and he can blow up the running back, and he just goes at the ankles last minute and doesn't wrap up or anything. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to lay the lumber on anyone, dude. Good cover
I wrote
guy,
that he is
reliable cover guy, but
I put that he's a dependable low tackler. He is going for your ankle, and he will get it.
Yeah. Well, when I look at Terrell Burgess, I look at a guy who's looking to kind of headhunt for, like you said, don't put him in the box, but he's going to still step up and make a consistent tackle there. Whereas Brandon Jones, I just don't trust him in coverage as much.
I don't at all trust him in coverage. He makes me nervous.
The Justin Jefferson play against LSU was very impressive. My eyes kind of bulged when I saw that, but I watched two other games.
It's a needle in a haystack.
No, I watched two other games and didn't see it. I didn't see an instinct to find the ball. I think
he'll be end of day 2, early day 3, and he'll be a starting strong safety in the league.
That's fine.
I think that's what he'll be.
I think he's better zone coverage inside 10 yards up there.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where he fits better.
He spent his senior season basically playing linebacker.
That's fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so we got 5 more of these, so we'll just put them in a
goodness.
Put them in a bag
vault and do it next week.
Do one more. Why not? Sorry, Beam. Yeah,
running backs. Haven't done a lot of running back talk here.
I haven't looked at a lot of running backs.
Swift is one of them. I'll take Swift.
Do you guys want to not do running back?
Save that. I haven't watched a lot of running backs.
Swift and Dobbins. I know they're both really good.
How
do you want to do defensive tackle?
Yeah, I'll take
Let's do the
one of
defensive
those.
tackle one.
Okay, I've watched those guys. That's good.
TCU defensive tackle Ross Blacklock.
Oh, here it goes.
We had a thing here, me and Kyle yesterday. I watched him. I didn't see anything impressive.
Versus.
Am I crazy?
Yes.
Yes, you're insane.
All right. I need to watch more games, I guess.
Oklahoma defensive tackle Neville Gallimore.
Yeah. Got them both in the second round. I have Blacklock right ahead of Gallimore. To me, Gallimore is a really high upside guy, but he's a redshirt senior who never had college production.
Correct.
And you're drafting the glimpses that you see early off the ball.
Tell me about Blacklock. I watched him play Baylor.
So, Blacklock, co-defensive player of the year in 2017. He was a monster for TCU, got hurt with an Achilles injury in the preseason of 2018, missed the entire season. So he comes back this year, and he puts up 3.5 sacks, active hands inside. He's kind of like what Kinlaw was at the Senior Bowl when we were talking with Nate Newton. He said, if you can get the hands inside of an offensive lineman, he's going to be tough to block.
And he's a 3 that was stuck playing the 1 at TCU.
Yeah. See, that's... every other, and that's fine. This team needs all kinds of defensive tackles, but he was playing nose tackle and 1 technique the whole game.
Yep.
And did not have a lot of opportunities, and it seemed like they would try to create free runs for him.
He's going to be better in a 3.
I thought he held his own against the run way better than Gallimore I could ever dream of. I think he anchors down a little bit better, and I think he gives you a little bit of quickness. Gallimore's a better pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I would say, but I think Blacklock is a far better run player than Gallimore is, and that's where I kind of have them Blacklock just above Gallimore.
Well, the thing about Gallimore that I really liked initially, and I think it was our first show, Jeff and I kind of talked about it, and the lateral movement of Gallimore I liked. I think he can go side to side a little bit better than most defensive tackles. I think Blacklock can do it better than Gallimore. I really do. Too. I think he's more lateral than Gallimore and puts a little bit on the table there. Plus, he's bigger, 6'4" compared to 6'2", and I mean they're about the same size weight-wise.
He had an Achilles thing last year, so when he talked about 2018, he tore his Achilles. So if that bothers you, the Achilles is an injury that does scare me.
How much does that scare you, though, in terms of a defensive tackle, though? Is that a big enough red flag to?
That stuff doesn't bother me in 2020. Like
2 years removed from it, I think you're fine. And
people come back from torn ligaments all the time.
But when you're 28, it's a bigger deal.
It's weird to say, but
needs to be talked about though.
Recurring tendinitis, like Kinlaw, is scarier than like, oh, I tore a ligament 2 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
but hopefully it gets him to 17.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely.
Tendonitis in there.
I'll watch more Blacklock. I just didn't see anything. And again, watching on tape, like I'm looking for pass rush ability, which I know that's not the full. That's obviously not the full picture.
Yeah.
But I've seen more of it from Gallimore. I need to take a deeper dive.
He's a better pass rusher than Blacklock, in my opinion.
Watch the Oklahoma State game.
I will do that.
Watch that. That's the game that I watched immediately, and then I watched the Baylor game afterwards, and I saw kind of what you were talking about. I think Baylor kind of ate their lunch in that regard. But that's going to do it here for episode 5 of the DallasCowboys.com draft show. Thanks so much, KT, for putting that together. That was fun.
Yeah, good job, KT.
We'll address some of that here in a little bit as well.
Not a good job, KT.
I don't know what's going on. But for David Hellman, for Kevin Turner, for Jeff Cavanaugh, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next Thursday here on the DallasCowboys.com draft show.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!